It's Chainsaw Tuesday, and I'm tired. This week's chapter, like most it seems, was over in a second and left us with a brutal cliffhanger, so this will be a short chapter this week. Let's not waste any time and jump right in, because as you know, for some reason, short chapters means there's more to talk about than ever before. I don't know how this series works. Honestly, at this point, I've given up trying to understand it. All I know is that I love it. Chapter 227, titled The Taste of Shrimp and Blood, ominous title, picks up from Chapter 226. Denji and Asa are now in a fight with the Locust Devil, who just won't die! And yeah, it seems everyone's theories from last week that Asa was coming back was true, but it doesn't last for long, so savor it while it lasts, which I think is intentional for various reasons in and out of this story. We'll talk about that one in just a moment, but Asa is doubled over on the ground, writhing in pain from the locust's stinger embedding itself in her stomach. Denji asks her why this devil is here. She doesn't know, which is funny if you think about it, because how in the hell would Asa know what this devil is in the first place? It's Asa well, if anything, Denji would probably be more likely to know about this, right? But Asa, I don't know. There is not a chance, man. She's a high schooler. Obviously playing that up just a tad bit there. I'm joking, but I do think it is funny nonetheless. So the Locust Devil attacks Denji as he kicks it back, demanding he know who they are. But there is no response to that because as he asks it, it is already in the middle of another attack in which Denji is thrown with such force through a concrete building, just through these lifeless gray concrete bodies surrounding all of it. I don't know what I just said. Denji is thrown with such force through a concrete building among the other just as lifeless and gray concrete structures surrounding it. This is about the time Fujimoto said to himself, man, I didn't draw a sexy concrete structure yet. Maybe now's the time. Denji is blown back into even more buildings as he leaves a hole in them with his shape. The Locust just, I imagine it's like some Acme cartoon. Denji's like entire silhouette is the shape of never mind. The Locust just continues pummeling poor Din Din into this concrete building and shooting off what looks to be a rapid fire of stingers. But hey, Asa comes in clutch and is like, Denji, need a hand? As she throws his severed chainsaw arm, catching it in one of the most badass moments. This actually reminded me a lot of The Evil Dead for some reason, which everyone here probably should watch because the main character not only has a chainsaw for an arm, but also a double-barreled shotgun and a whole brain full of one-liners and quips. The old Denji is back as he's severed and cuts into pieces the Locust Devil and bathes in its guts. God, this was just so cool. So he eats the Locust, as one does, and erases the concept from existence, which I'm sure just made everything a lot worse just all around the world, especially the life forms that depend upon Locusts. But you know what? I'm starting to think Earth may be screwed at this point either way. And with that out of the way, Asa checks on Denji, and you know, I don't know what this face is, but Fujimoto sure loves it, but Din Din's response to her is that the Locust tasted like shrimp? Well, that's a new one. Which makes Asa relieved. Seems she knows that Denji is typically at his peak when he's probably eating something important. Joking aside, I think it's also worth noticing that Asa is relieved because much like the save me, or well, I guess save me Denji line from last week's chapter, it is another example that something is continuing to change with this one. So let's go back to that line from last week, right? Saving her was her own confession that she wants to live because she has to have something to live for now, whether or not that is Denji, her friends, or this nebulous future somewhere off in her mind that she and only she knows about. Who knows? It's probably Denji, because let's be real. This builds upon that moment. You aren't relieved for no reason. She clearly has feelings for Denji that are now getting to a point where it is pulling her out of the rut she's been in for decades. Her feelings are bringing out the true Asa that isn't mired down by inner thoughts eating away at her. Feels more and more like she's acting rather than thinking, which is where someone like Asa needs to be. I know this because, you know what I'm about to bring up. Me and Asa have the same issue of our minds constantly running wild and cycling all the time. We're bipolar AF. We're bipolar besties. And the more you stay inside your own head, the worse things feel and the worse they seem. So for me, that's manic depression. For her, it may be something different, but either way, her thoughts bringing her down are a huge theme in her character. Plus, consider this one, ever since she didn't trip and save Denji, she has been doing more and more stuff like this. She's blown her own head off. She told Denji, that first one's kind of depressing now that I think about it, but she goes on to tell Denji about her past. She gave Denji a hand in this chapter. There's overall less thinking, more doing, which may not be much, but it's not nothing either, you know? And also, isn't that just another mirror for Denji? Denji never thinks. He just dingies. But since we can't ever have anything nice because of Yoru, Yoru takes over Asa's body and bodies Denji. And the best part of these deceptions from Yoru is that Denji always responds the same way every time. No fair! I don't think that's nothing. It at least shows Denji is still taking this, I don't want to say lightly, but he's shrugging off a lot of what Yoru does, which to me shows that he is well aware, probably, of what Yoru is capable of, and he expects it, and yet retains a playful undertone. Maybe he knows that Yoru is kind of all smoke and mirrors and nothing else. You know, if you think about it, Yoru is like Mr. Satan, crossed with Donald Cuck. You know what I'm saying? I think this is what we call confidence, though. But I do not know what the word is or what it means. In fact, I'm illiterate, and I've been winging every single one of these videos the entire time. I don't even know what Chainsaw Man is. Yippee! And by the way, there you go, fellas. There's a yippee for your Discord server. From me to you. The chapter ends with Denji being blown through a building to the other side, where he falls down to a lot of pigeons where they are resting. This was some deep-ass symbolism right here. Emphasis on deep-ass symbolism right here. So I did some research for some basic usages of pigeons as symbolism in literature and just in general. So according to my research, they represent quite a bit of stuff. Love and peace, finding joy in the present moment to appreciate the small victories, and to recognize the beauty in the ordinary. I mean, what we're talking about earlier with Asa, right? She's taking more action. She's not in her head a lot. She's living in the moment. So I don't know what that has to do with Asa, since Denji was... Let's just keep going. They can also represent loyalty in marriage, but also can represent evolution too. There are obviously many different interpretations, and seeing as this chapter is very short, it's hard to kind of pinpoint what this symbolism means quite yet. I think we're missing some extra key details that's going to be happening in the next couple of chapters to get the full picture. But I know one thing is for sure is I don't tend to think shorter chapters for Chainsaw Man have just less content. Instead, I actually think there's more thought put into shorter chapters than the longer ones. Anyone remember that chapter with no dialogue? I mean, that was a pretty big chapter. I think that video was quite long for its time. And if I were to guess, this could be a small victory for Yoru and turn the tides in the long term, meaning that maybe finally Yoru's winning streak may start to build up momentum from here on out as the fight evolves into one that may be that of attrition. Probably not, but it is too close to say one way or the other, but the one thing this must represent is the whole love and peace, but scratch the peace, because we know that Yoru, she just doesn't realize it. She absolutely has a massive hard-on for Denji, just like pretty much everyone in the series does, and I get it. I get it. He smells like dogs. And who doesn't love a man that smells like dogs? My other theory is just that, well, I mean, think of it this way. We're getting to a point in this fight where we've been going at it for quite a long while now. So I could foresee there now being more of a balanced dynamic, which then leads into Yoru eventually overtaking Chainsaw Man and Denji as time goes on. This could move the fight towards a breaking point as well, because while I say Yoru will overtake Denji, I still don't think he is at this point in nearly in dire straits. Yet at the same time, there are some issues with that statement. We could clearly see that Denji is laying on the ground with missing limbs. He can't pull a starter. He can't regenerate. She has him right where she wants him. He will need someone to feed him blood, which could be a segue into someone entering the fight to stop Yoru from finger-banging Denji any further. And with that being said, maybe Yoru will finger-bang him a couple of times until he is nothing but a torso, and that's when he's rescued or given some sort of second win somehow. But here's another detail we must consider. Denji is now wearing resilient devil armor, so Yoru won't likely be able to damage his torso that much beyond what is uncovered. So if Yoru wants to do the classic where she tries to like rip out his heart for some reason, I don't think she'll be able to do that, which I don't think she wants to do anyways. We're just ruling that out just because. But it does at least assure he won't be absolutely totaled after Yoru finger bangs him. I'm not sure. I'm just looking at details here. I don't know. I think we got to get someone in here probably, though. Maybe Fami, because it could help slow down Yoru for Denji to get enough time to recuperate. There aren't many options Denji has unless we pull out the tried and true theory of Kobeni, Kishibe, and Quanchi returning to freak out, kill devils, and get sad about lovers lost or something. Honestly, I don't know. Fujimoto hasn't really set up anything in the background prior to this fight where I can point to and guarantee one way or the other, like quite literally anything. I don't know any setup. I don't know of any character in the background right now waiting to just jump in and save Denji. We don't have any. We're in this semi-uncharted territory with this one, boys. At least we got another Asa moment this week. Otherwise, I'm kind of scared. It's dark. Fujimoto is clearly in love with Yoru's thighs, and my Discord community has some observations and thoughts on this one. President Shmim and King Lao pointed out how happy Asa looked in this chapter, only to be dragged right back for Yoru to take advantage of their small happy moment. It's a subtle moment where Yoru weaponizes Asa's feelings for Denji, showing her nature as a devil, but October has a little bit of a slant on this that got me thinking, basically just saying that there is hope for Asa because Asa believes in hope. Which, as an aside, did you guys know that hope is not a feeling you have? It's actually a verb. Hope is an action you take, which is why you often see me in videos hate on doomers with a furious passion because doom is not a verb. It is a feeling that rejects the action of hope. That's important because, as like I said earlier, Asa is taking action by having some hope, which is pretty much how humanity itself has built everything it has, with this possibly being a big moment for Asa's character, just showing her growth. And let's go even further by putting ourselves in Asa's shoes. Why would you not be hella pissed off? I mean, really. If you were Asa and you were sick and tired all the damn time and you finally get your moment only for someone to hijack it for their own gain, would you not be majorly pissed off? I mean, I would. In fact, I would not stand for it at some point. So is this those beginning stages? Maybe the fact Denji is helpless and Asa isn't helpless means that she can summon up all of her rage to stop Yoru in that moment? Because at some point, enough is enough. Asa is trying to take hope here and take action. And Yoru is directly conflicting with that, using her body for whatever she wants in any situation. And remember, if you have hope, you basically have everything you need to accomplish pretty much anything you realistically want to do as a person. This is Asa's body. She has ownership over it. And we know, based on her fight with Yoshida, that she can use Yoru's powers as her own. And that got me thinking. Maybe this whole to the victor goes the loser stuff wasn't meant to be about Denji, Yoru, or Pochita. Maybe that line was meant for Asa as well, because if Asa believes that she owns war, which is a part of her body, then she is the victor, is she not? So wouldn't it be kind of rad as hell if during the next handful of chapters, Asa just puts a stop to it and just starts screaming at Yoru at the top of her lungs to get back inside her head, sit down, and shut the hell up? And yes, Yoru would probably listen because Yoru runs away from anything that is too hard for her to handle. She's Yako. Yoru always chickens out, and yes, I am hella proud of that comparison. I think Yoru and Dictator Cuck over here would probably compare fairly well. Another point that was brought up is simply asking what the point of the Locust Devil is when it is gone after like 2 or 3 chapters. Now, I'm glad this actually was pointed out by my community because I didn't really think about it much. But they're basically saying is like, this was here to show that Yoru is a joke. I mean, think of it this way. It is another example that whenever there is any kind of pushback, Yoru always chickens out. If we remember as well, Yoru ran from the Falling Devil, while she also ran from the Falling Devil later again. And how did she defeat the Falling Devil? She came up behind her. She didn't even face the Falling Devil. Think about that. The point, I guess, isn't to say Yoru is weak. Oh, hell no. She is not weak. There is a nuance, though, when I say Yoru is a coward. She will never live up to her potential because she lacks something that only Asa and I guess humans have, which is hope and a consciousness. And as October puts it best, if anything, by the way, shout out to October, amazing community member, Yoru is just as much a loser as Asa is, and for that, Yoru will never be able to be like her and grow as a person. Yoru is stagnant and outdated, much like conventional war currently is in our own timelines, right? Yoru just doesn't cut it any longer. She's all smoke and mirrors, projection at its finest. But whenever she faces literally anyone that is more powerful than her or gets the upper hand on her, she shows herself as cowardly and weak and says, "Asa, can you handle this for me? Can you do it? I can't." Plus, let's go back to that line, to the victor goes the loser. If Asa is a loser, then that must mean Yoru is, catch my drift? One thing is for sure, though, nothing is as it may seem with Chainsaw Man. This series continues to be as well thought out as it ever was. We'll just have to see where it goes next. My bet is smooches for Asa by the end of it, or at least I hope. Join my Discord, please! Also, check out my next Chainsaw Man video here and yesterday's Dawn at Dawn video, along with my recent video for Fate Strange Fake and Free Run over on the main channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Make it a great day or not. The choice is yours.